guys, today we are going to be doing Emily Noel's tag what is in my $1,000 Sephora basket or fantasy basket or whatever the tag is called. You probably know what I'm talking about, but I need to start filming this because I had this list, or I had all of this stuff in my Sephora basket for like a week now, and every single day Sephora keeps emailing me asking if I'm ready to check out, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna check out, I'm not gonna buy all of this stuff. This is just like a theoretical haul. So I'm gonna tell you all about the $1,000 that I would love to spend at Sephora, so let's just get into it. Alright, so I scooched over a little bit so that I can put up some pictures here, and my current Sephora cart is at $1,004. Don't come for me, I know I'm over, I don't care. So let me just kind of start on the top here. So a lot of these things are going to be things that I just don't want to spend that much money on, but if someone gave me a $1,000 gift card and told me I had to go spend $1,000, this is the stuff that I would buy. So the first thing on my list is the Pat McGrath Labs Sublime Skin Highlighting Trio. I've seen this in store many times, I've swatched it many times. The two shades in this, like the lighter ones, look so beautiful. Like they are so sparkly, and at the same time kind of wet looking and dimensional and just beautiful. Oh, like I would love to have those on my face, but I'm not going to spend $50 on a highlighting trio where I can only use two shades. Like that is just not worth the money. So that's the reason that I'm probably never going to buy that. But if I could kind of like get it for free, or like I said, have a gift card, or like have someone buy it for me, I wouldn't mind having it, but I'm definitely not going to buy it. The next thing on my list is I really want to try one of Charlotte Tilbury's lipsticks. I've heard so many good things about her lipsticks, so I would probably pick up one of the Matte Revolution lipsticks. I realized that she has so many different formulas, and I don't really know like which formula it is that everyone is hyping up, but I feel like overall like her lipsticks have gotten really good reviews, so I feel like regardless of which formula I would get, I would end up being happy with it. But these are $34. Okay, look, I have lipsticks that cost that much in my collection, but with the amount of lipsticks that I have now, I just never find myself reaching for my lipsticks enough to justify spending $34 on one lipstick. Because if I were to buy something like that and like use that every day, then what do I do with all of my other lipsticks? You know, like it just seems like a little bit of a waste of money. As much as I would like to try her formula, I don't know, it would have to be a very special release that I could kind of review. If I'm going to buy one, I'm not going to just like buy one because I want to have it in my collection. Unless I can justify buying it somehow, I will probably not buy one of her lipsticks, but I have heard so many good things that I would probably pick up like one of the nude ones if I did have a chance to. Another thing that I have been so curious about for such a long time, this is such a stupid product. I definitely don't need this. This is the Guerlain, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but this is the Meteorites Highlighting Powder Pearls. There's something about that little powder thing filled with little balls that are all different colors, they're just so cute, and they smell kind of like perfumey and like old lady makeup, and there's such a charm to that. Like I just want to try it. I just want to have it because it's pretty. I'm such a sucker for packaging. You'll probably see that in a lot of these items, because a lot of these things is like, this is cute, this is pretty, like I want to have that just because of the aesthetics, or because of the name, or because of the luxury that's attached to it. Like I am a sucker for high-end stuff. I just can't help it. There's something about that that it just gets to me, and this is just one of those items that I feel like I really don't need, and I don't even know if I would really use it, but I would enjoy looking at it, and that would probably mean that it would have a little bit of value to my collection still, or value in my life at least. I don't know. I guess I don't even really know what it is, to be completely honest. I think it's like a finishing powder, like the Hourglass one. I could be completely mistaken, but that just proves to you that I don't need this product, but I still want it. But it is $64 for just some powder pearls. Next up, let's talk about the eyeshadow palettes on my list. Now, I don't really think that anyone's going to be surprised that I'm mentioning eyeshadow palettes in this, but this is one of those things that I kind of have a rule for myself that if I don't buy something when it launches, eyeshadow palette wise, I'm just not going to buy it because I know I won't get enough use out of it. And if I can't at least make a good review, like an early quick review, it's just not going to be worth to have in my collection and to spend the money on, because as an eyeshadow palette review channel, I get so many palettes not only sent to me, but I buy so many palettes that I just don't have time to go back and buy older palettes and just like use for myself. Like I film my makeup most of the time I do my makeup, that I just don't have time to like buy something just because I want to have it in my collection, if that makes any sense. But the palettes that I'm talking about, these just came out at a terrible time. I don't even know like really what happened and why I didn't buy any of these, but this is the big ABH Norvina palette. So I really wanted the purpley one, like the first one that came out, number 1, with like the reds and the purples. That one is beautiful. I would love to have that in my collection, but I just know that I will not get enough use out of that. And also the number 2 palette is like my favorite by far out of the bunch when it comes to color story wise. Oh, you guys know I love me some cool tones. Like I love me some greens and blues. Oh, this palette just looks so beautiful. There's some pinks in there, some teals, there's a black. Oh, there's nothing I don't like about this palette. And I just wish that this came out at a better time and they weren't so close together, because I would have picked that up and probably done 10 looks with it. But I just knew that when that palette came out, I didn't have time at the time to put in the work that it would take for me to feel like I would be able to review the palette properly, because it's such a large palette that I'm not going to buy a palette like that and then only do like 1 or 2 or 3 looks and call it a review, because it's simply just not enough. Like if I'm gonna review something, I want to properly review it, and if I don't have time for it, I'm just going to skip it. And I feel like that's what happened with this palette. But these palettes are beautiful. I've heard so many good things. They are $60 each, so they are quite expensive. So again, it's not going to be something that I'm going to go back to pick up now, because now it's just like too late for me personally, but they are beautiful. I also have some other eyeshadow palettes on my list that I would just love to have in my collection as like a collector's item, which is stupid because it's eyeshadows and I already have one of these palettes, and this is the large Pat McGrath palettes. I have 3 of them in my Sephora wishlist thingy cart that we're talking about right now. I have the number 1, 2, and 3 because I think that they are all beautiful in their own way. But again, it's just not something that I feel like I can really pick up now. Like it's just too late for me to review them, and I just don't have enough time to play with them on my own to be able to justify the price here, because they are so expensive. But man, would I love to have those. If I did not have a YouTube channel, I would have all of those palettes and I would kind of like use them along with other things. The reason why I never buy the large Pat McGrath palettes is, I'm sure I've said this in past in other videos, but every single one of her large palettes, I'm pretty sure all of them only have neutral mattes and like the colorful shimmers. Like I want something more out of my mattes. I'm not really a brown crease kind of person, as I'm sure you can tell. If you're new to my channel, I'm not a brown crease kind of person. I'm just not. Like that it doesn't make me happy. I'm such a colorful person and I just love to have fun with my eyeshadows, that the color stories in those don't really make me excited. But all of the shimmers in those palettes really do make me excited. But with the combination with the mattes and the shimmers, it's just not it for me. You know, it just doesn't do it enough for me to want to warrant buying. But if I could have them in my collection and use them along with some of my beautiful colorful mattes and not worry about filming every day and not having a YouTube channel where I like focus on one palette at a time, whatever comes out, like then I would totally have those in my collection and I think I would get so much use out of them. But just the way that I run my channel, it just doesn't really make sense for me to pick up any of those. I hope that makes sense. Like, it's weird to talk about like how I would do things if I didn't have a channel, but I also feel like everybody who has a channel has their own way of doing things and they have their own little preferences when it comes to kind of like what to buy, when to buy, why, and why they wouldn't buy something, you know? And people just run their channels differently, and this is just how I run mine and how I like to run mine. And please don't feel like this is me like complaining that I can't do these things, because if I wanted to, I absolutely could. But since I just really like to review eyeshadow palettes, I need to use them on their own, and for that reason alone, I'm never going to pick all of these up. But they are $125 each, and I would like 3 of them if I could. So there's a big chunk of my $1,000 budget, so I don't have that much left. So this next one is such a stupid little thing, but I somehow lost my hairbrush, like my wet brush. And so I was scrolling on Sephora and I saw this super lemon drop brush from Dry Bar, and it's yellow, and I love their stuff. I have their straightener, I love it. I have their brush straightener and I really like that one too. And I just would like to have a little Dry Bar brush. It's $20. I mean, it wouldn't take up that much of my budget. It's yellow. It's just cute. I would just like it, and I need a new brush, so that's kind of why this is on my list. I know, it's very silly. Something else that I would like to try, let's go back to lipsticks, because my list is like all over the place. I don't know why all of these items aren't together like where they're supposed to be, but I would love to try one of Tom Ford's lipsticks. But for $55, and for the exact same reasons that I talked about with my Charlotte Tilbury one, it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's $55 for a lipstick. I don't care how good you are. I can't. I just can't. Now, another lipstick, however, that I would absolutely buy and that I've looked at so many times and I've been this close to buying is the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lipstick. These look so beautiful, but I still have yet to find like the perfect tone within her range that I think that I would love. I've looked at them so many times, even in store. I've swatched them on my hands. A lot of them look beautiful. The formula seems so nice. I would love to try one of those. They're not even that expensive. I mean, they're $25, but they're at least not $55, you know? Like, I feel like my limit when it comes to lipsticks is like mid-20s. Like, I can do that if I really want to try it. So I would absolutely pick up one of the Natasha Denona ones, and I probably will in the future, but I just don't feel like I found like the perfect nude for me. I don't really know. Maybe I need to, I was gonna say go swatch them again, but never mind. Let's move on. Something else from Natasha Denona that I would love to try is the Foundation X. I have heard a few people talk about this foundation recently, and this is a light medium foundation. Normally this isn't something that I would go for, but just lately I feel like I've really come around to using a lot more sheer foundations, and I've really been enjoying it. I think for the longest time I didn't realize that light coverage matte foundations existed. I only thought that the light coverage ones would be like BB creams and CC creams and like really dewy products, which doesn't really work for my skin because I have very oily skin, and so I never really looked for like the sheerer foundations. But this is a matte foundation, and I just feel like since I really like a lot of Natasha Denona's face products, honestly all of them, I have her Transfer Matte foundation, which I'd never see anybody talk about. That foundation works great for me, but the undertone is a little bit off, and she doesn't really have like the perfect shade match for me, at least not in that foundation. I haven't really looked at this range right here, but if I could find something in that range that would be perfect for me, I would love to try it. And this foundation is $45, which I feel like, I don't know, I'm one of those people, I don't have an issue spending a lot of money on foundations because it's a product that I actually go through. If I find a foundation I really like, I end up using it almost every single day. And I also feel like it lasts long enough that I can make it through like 2 seasons and still be able to use it, you know, the second year or whatever. So I have enough time to go through a foundation that I don't mind spending a lot of money on it. And I also just feel like higher end foundations just work better for my skin. I don't know what it is. I also just like bougie products like we've talked about. So I probably honestly will pick this up at some point because I'm so curious about it. Let's talk about blush, because you guys know how much I love my blushes. I'm such a sucker for blush anything. I would love to try one of the KVD blushes. I've heard so many good things about that formula, and she has some very unique colors. I would really like to pick up the color Poppy, which is like an orange, and this one is $26. And speaking of orange, I would love to get another one of the Fenty cream blushes. Those are so beautiful as well. And she also has a bit of an orange blush, which I think it's so cute. I really think orange blush should become more of a thing. But this one is in the shade Daiquiri Dip. Daiquiri Dip. I would love to pick that up. I would love both of these. I would love to layer both of those. The Fenty is only $20 though, so it's a little bit cheaper than the powder one, but I never only use cream, so I would need a powder to go on top of it, you know, so I would just like combine them. I also would like one of the Hourglass blushes. I have like a mini one in Mood Exposure, I think it's called. It's like a mauve, but it's a little bit light for me, especially in the summer when I have a bit of a tan. But I would love one of like the large Hourglass blushes, but they're so expensive. They're $40, and I just feel like out of the minis, the range just isn't as good, and there aren't really any colors that I want to pick up from the minis anymore. So I would like to get one of the large ones. Not really sure which one. There are a couple that I'm kind of eyeing, but I don't really see myself honestly ever buying any of those because I have so many blushes in my collection right now that I absolutely love. I don't need more blush, even though I love blush. I love it so, so much, but I just can't justify spending $40 on one blush. I just don't think I can do it. Now here's another thing that I feel like there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to buy when I'm out of the one that I'm currently using, and this is the Olaplex Bombing Oil. I always use oil in my hair after I shower because I do have very fried hair, as I'm sure you can tell. Maybe you can't tell, but I mean my hair has obviously been bleached many times and it doesn't feel that great. So I always like to use some oil, and I know that Olaplex is just such a good brand that their hair oil would probably be awesome. It's only $28. I don't know how big this is. I want to say it's like 30 mils, so it's like the size of a foundation, but obviously you don't use a lot because it's oil. So I think I am going to pick that up at some point because that is a product that I could really see myself using and benefiting from and like going through. So I feel like that would be a very good purchase for me. Let's see, we have 3 more items. I have 2 more items from Hourglass that I would love to try. The first is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I've heard great things about this setting powder. However, it's $46, and currently I've been loving my Wet n Wild powder, which is $6. I have nothing I don't like about the Wet n Wild powder, so I just don't see why I would buy a powder that's $46. I would also love to try their concealer. I actually have a lot of concealers right now, and I feel like I've tried a lot of new ones lately, so I definitely do not need a new concealer, and I have concealers that I really like now, so that's another purchase that I just probably won't ever make unless I somehow go through all of the concealers that are in my collection and I need a new one and I want to try a new one. Maybe I will try that out, but I don't know. Let me know. Is the Hourglass concealer worth it? Let me know down below. The last thing on my list is I would love to pick up more of the Fenty eyeliners. The Fenty liners are freaking amazing. However, I will say that now that I have my new gel liners from Lethal, which is what is in my waterline today, I have all of these beautiful liners that they sent me, and I think that they are fantastic for the waterline. I don't think I need any other ones from Fenty, but I do love the blue one that I have. And she has one of the, I think it's like an olive green that is so beautiful and so unique and not a color that I feel like I have in my eyeliner collection. I would love that eyeliner. They are quite expensive. They are $22 for an eyeliner, but eyeliners is one of those things that I feel like almost last forever unless it's ColourPop. But I don't really mind spending a little bit extra money on an eyeliner because I use eyeliners in my waterline every single day and I feel like I get enough use out of them that is kind of worth it in my collection. So those were all of the items that is in my cart. Let me just double check that I didn't forget anything. Nope, that's $1,004 worth of products. Have you tried any of these? Let me know if I am missing out. Like I said, there's very few that I will probably ever pick up, but if I could magically have them in front of me and use them and try them and review them, I absolutely would, but that's probably not going to happen. But I had fun talking about it and I had fun putting everything in my cart, and now I need to empty my cart so that Sephora stops bothering me. If you have a channel, please do this. I will of course have Emily's channel and her video linked down below in my description box. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see any other tag videos, here's a few more, and if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one.